Southeast Alaska Conservation Council, working to conserve and protect Alaska's ecosystems while supporting communities through the sustainable use of our region's resources. Southeast Alaska is one of the world's last unspoiled ecosystems. Glaciated peaks that seem to go on forever. Millions of forested acres. Thousands of miles of untouched coastline. Thriving biodiversity has become synonymous with Alaska, a conservation challenge, and a proving ground. In assessing conservation needs of Southeast Alaska, SEACC determined that village energy issues were among the highest. The traditional people of this land, the Tlingit and Haida, were some of the most recently impacted by westward expansion. Only 50 years ago, these people had thriving, sustainable communities, completely self-sufficient, and still conduct a sustainable harvest each year, feeding themselves off the fat of the land. Now, much like other isolated village communities of Southeast Alaska, Angoon has an energy problem. They're dependent on diesel fuel to power generators for electricity, a very inefficient system in a far-off place.
If I wanted electric range in my house, electric hot water heater, electric dryer, electric washing machine, all that good stuff, I had them, my electricity went up $700-800 a month.
Some light bills run up to $1,200. Just in how people pay that here when you have no jobs here. It's just mind-boggling.
We also saw the development of we call it a green workforce. You know, the new workforce for tomorrow is going to be a green workforce. It's not going to be the diesel dinosaur mechanics of old. It's going to be people maintaining solar panels, wind turbines, and hydroelectric projects.
You know, when you compare it to diesel, and I just don't think that oil is going to get any cheaper. I think it's probably just going to keep going up and up as it becomes more and more scarce. There's always a danger of an oil spill or for some reason maybe not having a good supply. And in 2008, it was very difficult because, as you know, that was when fuel prices spiked to outrageous amounts.
Well, we've always been looking at renewable energy as a solution to the problem, for the high cost of energy.
Putting everybody on, like you said, on this hydroelectric and solar and turbine, it's got to make a difference.
It's a demonstration project, so we're working on one house and we're seeing what the possibilities are with that one house. And right now we're doing Peggy and Kelly Williams' house, and we're installing solar panels and doing weatherization, making some other improvements, and we're going to see what the possibilities are after that project is over and see if solar energy can be done here in a rural community in Alaska.
Through strategic partnerships with local groups and tribal leaders, SEACC was able to facilitate this test project. Could a combination of solar, wind, and increased efficiency help a household in Angoon? The project was a resounding success and has established a working template that may change life in villages throughout Southeast Alaska.
Eventually, we have to win. In order to save our Earth, like they say, progress isn't really all that great on the long run. We've destroyed a lot of things by the dollar. Now it's going to cost a lot of generations, a lot of their time and expertise to get back Mother Earth. Are we going to succeed? There's a lot of minds we have to change within everybody's lifetime so that our grandchildren can enjoy this earth as much as we have.
By doing this, you're adding hope to what we already know could be. I mean, that this renewable energy could have a positive impact here in Angoon if it works. That's all we've ever been looking for, is solutions to problems, and this has the potential of being a really good solution to a major problem.
In the heart of southeast Alaska lies the small town of Wrangell. Near the mouth of the Stukine River, a world-class river, one of the largest in Alaska. This area has always been the home of the Tlingit and Haida. This is the site of petroglyphs which chronicle the ancient inhabitants of this area. And today, a proud tradition of life in the Tlingit way persists. But in the 1970s, Wrangell was the epicenter of a huge logging industry. It had developed quickly around the easy access to old-growth forests, and around the islands it was easy from the water to get these trees. The industry vanished almost as fast as it sprang up, and by the mid-1990s it was a thing of the past, leaving in its wake a diminished ecosystem and a devastated economy. One of the long-term effects of clear-cut logging is the loss of deer habitat. 20 to 40 years after the logging occurs, competing trees growing in dense stands block the light to the forest floor. This reduces deer browse. A reduction in deer numbers has been noticed in clear-cut areas.
The clear cutting in Wrangell has made it more difficult to be able to hunt deer.
You know, the practice of the past has been pretty much clear cutting, and in some areas massive clear cutting in a way that actually harmed the wildlife and reduced deer populations. So you have a lot of different folks who depend on an intact forest and watershed. There's a pretty significant transformation happening in the Tongass, and that transformation is a movement away from industrial scale old growth logging towards more high value and lower volume milling of the wood off the Tongass National Forest. There's more of a focus on recreation, restoration, and clean and renewable energy in addition to that. And we are really trying to figure out in Wrangell what that transition is ultimately going to look like, and how we can create long-term sustainable jobs on the forest with this new policy.
SEACC worked with the community to find solutions to economic needs without damage to the local environment. Sawmills can take a sustainable yield of trees year after year and produce lumber for the local area, as well as add value by using the byproduct from this lumber to produce home heating products.
So in Wrangell, we've got a lot of folks very excited, and we're moving forward with a plan to create what are called bio-bricks. And the idea is to use the wood waste from our small mills and municipal solid waste like paper, cardboard, and scrap wood, grind it up into a compressed product that can be used to heat homes. It's cheaper than electric and oil heat.
Bio bricks to our elders would mean something affordable for them to heat their homes with, because the price of oil, the price of electrical heat is going up every year.
In southeast Alaska, the town of Cake, like many native villages, was the site of massive clear-cut logging, as seen here in these satellite images. This negatively impacted not only the forest, but the entire ecosystem and economy. These threatened the timeless Tlingit tradition and the culture itself. A healthy ecosystem is key in preserving the Tlingit culture.
Our father and mother were shipped off to mission school when they were very little kids in grade school, and they were punished for speaking their language when they arrived there. They were ridiculed because of the clothes they wore, the habit, and the things they ate. And with that, it kind of broke them. But that connection to our land is where that generation skip will happen. A generation of what we might say corporate officers, BIA employees, maybe they got disconnected, I don't know. from the land, but you could see it among this land claims business, especially in Southeast where they clear cut everything, or in the process of it. That really broke my spirit.
Conservation issues of cake are largely cultural. Western ideals were diametrically opposed to the established land stewardship values of the Tlingit. But villages of Southeast Alaska are uniquely positioned in a leadership role as communities that are predisposed to a sustainable model of life, closely linked to their local environments.
The sustainability of villages and rural area gives color to the whole landscape. And we try to reach out once in a while, say with Circle Peacemaking or Culture Camp Wise. 24 years of it, of transferring what we know to these young people.
Culture Camp is an annual celebration of Tlingit traditions, where subsistence foods are collected and prepared in the old ways, and children are taught about their connection to all living things and the food that directly ties them to the land and sea.
A big part of our culture and part of the culture camp and teaching the kids is to teach them love of the land, respect for the animals. With the animals we hunt, like the deer, the seal, they don't overhunt and they just take what we need, and we don't waste a lot. Everything we hunt, we use most of the animals. So. And it teaches them respect for the forest. They don't leave their garbage laying around and all that. So it's an important part of their being Tlingit and a big part of the culture. So.
The food traditions are age-old and keep the native stewardship values alive. SEACC, along with the strong leadership of Cake tribal elders, developed an economic plan with traditional values in mind, based on forest restoration, renewable energy, and non-timber forest products.
One that's worked with us, especially in our concerns in protecting our environment and sustaining our lifestyle, has been SEACC. They've been very helpful for, I dare say, close to 2 decades, I bet.
The Tlingit way of life hangs in the balance. To find out more about Southeast Alaska Conservation Council's projects, visit SEACC.org, SEACC.org.